the course is divided into two topics, two broad topics. One is your transmission line to port network, another is your Maxwell equation and their applications. So before going to this particular topic, I want to mention that why transmission line and two-port network knowledge is required. And normally, engineering electromagnetics, it is covered in various universities. If you go through their course content, it is started from the vector calculus and slowly electrostatics, electrodynamics, and then Maxwell equation, their boundary condition, and Maxwell equation in various scenario, and if time varying field and other things that is covered. So here we want to emphasize that because the course is placed at second year, you have a knowledge on knowledge about the two-port network, and the two-port network is particularly applicable for the circuit. So circuit means that where the dimension of your connections and this entire system is very less than lambda. Okay, so there predominantly the effect or phenomena they're going to observe is electrical signal. There will be magnetic field, but magnetic field you'll not able to experience because the dimension of the circuit is very less, unless there are components like inductor and transformer, other things, you will not going to experience magnetism. Predominantly, those things are governed by KVL and KCL, and you know that how to find out given a particular circuit. You need to know there are two-port parameters, and two-port parameter will give you an idea about the behavior of that particular system without knowing what is exactly the circuit. Because circuits, what is the purpose of circuit? Purpose of circuit is to process signal. What is signal? Signal is coming from your surroundings. It can be your temperature, it can be your pressure, it can be humidity, it can be the seismic signal, it can be your earthquake signal. So many types of signals are there, and we human beings need to have a knowledge about the signal. If you know the signal, then you can interpret the phenomena and you have a better understanding of your nature. So to understand that thing, circuits was developed, and step by step right now you will see that so many circuits are there, but it is origin is to understand your surroundings, because we human beings have some limitation. Our voice frequency range is 300 Hz to 3.4 kHz. We are able to hear 20 Hz to 20 kHz. And we cannot actually, the temperature range our body or skin can experience, that is limited. So we have some limitations. But if you need to know about surroundings, there is a huge variation of those parameters. To understand that thing, then you need some devices which will sense that thing, and they will convert that variation into any form of energy. But we are able to master only electrical signal. That is why we are converting everything into electrical signal. So those are your sensors and transducer. They will convert the signal, and then that signal need to be processed by circuit, because the signal can be weak or signal need further processing, because your receiver is not able to understand that thing. So there, for this purpose, there are circuits. Okay. Now, in the circuit theory is well established, and a lot of good work has been done. But once, so one side there is a circuit theory. Another side, if you have a like if you have some kind of source, like you can think of gravitation, you can think of there is a charge is present, and what is the effect surrounding to that charge. Or if there is a like you place a magnetic bar or a horseshoe magnet, so what is happening surrounding to that. And if you connect 2 points to conductor by some wire or conducting line, and you give you give supply, power, like power, some kind of power supply, like it can be battery, then what is the effect? So these particular things are basically field. So field means action at a distance. So gravitation, so there are two objects. So due to that two object, there is an effect. So that effect is a, you feel at a distance. So these are action at a distance, or that's why these are called field. So these are force field. There are four fundamental forces: gravitational force, you have electrostatic force, then magnetic force, then you have strong force, weak force. Now electrostatic force and electromagnetic and the magnetic force both can be combined, that is giving you electromagnetic force. So electromagnetic force, gravitational force, strong force, and weak force. Now as of now, the electromagnetic force and weak force also can be combined. So there is a electroweak force, there is a strong force, and there is gravitational force. So in the entire physics and entire human advancement, there are few fundamental discovery, fundamental contribution. One such contribution by Isaac Newton. He able to conceptualize and able to write mathematical equation for gravitational force. The second such contribution is by Maxwell. He is able to write equation, mathematical equation for circuit and magnetic, both electrical circuit and magnetic circuit. For both cases, what will be the nature of force and their equation, he mathematically able to provide and mathematically able to write those equations. So this is one of the greatest contribution in the human history, particularly in scientific domain. So as a result of that, we have electromagnetics. There is a wide range of applications. Like you can see the physics-based signal processing and imaging that I was talking about, that if you need to have signal process, for that the source signal need to be converted by some circuitry. In your entire duration of your program, you will go through this thing: computer chip design and circuits. There you need to have a knowledge of electromagnetics, lasers and optoelectronics, quantum optics, Casimir force, heat transfer, quantum information, nano optics, nano antenna, metamaterials, remote sensing, subsurface sensing, EMI EMC analysis, stochastic modeling, antenna uh, analysis and design, RCS analysis, design, ATR and steel technology, MEMS, microwave engineering, wireless communication propagation, biomedical engineering and biotech. In all these cases, you're going to find the application of electromagnetics. Okay, so these applications, so you can go through the brief overview of the history of electromagnetism. So it all started like in the recorded history. Obviously, what we are talking about, the recorded history, there are some events which is not recorded. Probably it can go beyond that. So recorded history says that lodestone and 400 BC, which is basically a magnet, and compass 200 BC, it was utilized to navigate, and it correctly points the magnetic north of Earth. So using that compass or lodestone, you can navigate. So that was 400 to 200 BC. Static electricity invented, it was noted 400 BC. Then pinhole camera 400 BC. Refraction 984. Then optical domain, you have Snell 1621, Newton, Huygens principle, the wave nature of optics 1660 around. So like that, the optical domain. In so your circuit domain, Ampere's law came into existence in 1823, Faraday's law 1838, KCL KVL 1845, telegraphy 1837, electrical machinery in 1832, then Maxwell equation 1864-65. Then a lot of scientists contributed Heaviside, Harch, Raleigh, Sommerfeld, Love, Lorentz, and so many others. Quantum electrodynamics, 1927, Dirac, Feynman, Swinger, then electromagnetic technology. So these are in the 19th century. Then nanofabrication technology, single photon measurement, quantum optics came into existence 1980s, and quantum information 1980s, quantum electromagnetics or quantum optics will going to come in another 10-15 years. You will able to see that the effect of quantum optics. So behind everything is your electromagnetism and the contribution by Maxwell. So James Clerk Maxwell, he gave four equations. Four equations are derived from the previous previous existing equations, but he connect these equations and he is able to formulate this equation in like both differential and integral form, and these are known as Maxwell equation. So these are differential form. We'll see the integral form in subsequent time. So the first one is your Gauss law, divergent of E equal to rho E by epsilon naught. Divergent of B equal to 0, curl of E equal to minus del B del T, and curl of B equal to mu naught epsilon naught del E del T plus mu naught J. You can write the last equation as curl of H equal to J plus del D del T also. Okay, so you can write the last equation as curl of H equal to J plus del D del T. Now, what is the Maxwell's contribution particularly? So this Maxwell, initially this term, the del D del T, it was not known. So this particular term is contribution by Maxwell in the last equation, and obviously he able to connect all this equation. Now to understand this equation and their applications, you need to know about the vectors, the vector calculus and vectors in different coordinate system. So either in spherical coordinate system or cylindrical coordinate system. So I want to know that how much is your knowledge about the coordinate system and the vector calculus. Hello? So what? So can you tell me, anybody, that what is your knowledge so that so basics. Okay. So then you know about dot product, cross products. So I'm not going into that. So either you know about the dot product and cross products. Okay, so now why you need to particularly have this knowledge? Because uh, it was conceptualized that the source is basically a point source. So dimension of the source is negligible, and because dimension of the source is negligible, so you can the source will radiate if it is electrical signal, electromagnetic, or the magnetic signal, or even it is electromagnetic signal. The signal will go in all directions. Now you need to know the behavior of the signal, the that uh, around a particular at a particular distance from that source. To know that, sometimes you need to know different coordinate system, because the objects, depending on the application, the objects will have different uh, symmetry. Like if you are trying to understand that a antenna is radiating, and antenna will be radiating in all direction, then you, because it is in all direction, so it is basically going to be a sphere. So spherical coordinate system is better suitable to understand uh, the electric field, or the the electric field or the magnetic field at a distance from that source. But if you need to know about this, what is the signal in an optical fiber or any guided media, which is can be a cylindrical pipe, like an optical fiber is basically a cylindrical pipe. To understand what will be the signal variation, and uh, you need to know about this cylindrical coordinate system. So depending on the application, you need to use either Cartesian or your spherical or coordinate system, or your cylindrical coordinate system. So for that, you need to know about the coordinate system transformation. So first we will talk about this spherical system, spherical coordinate system, and their transformation. Okay. So spherical coordinate system you can think of is basically any point in space is represented as the intersection of three surfaces. Is basically a sphere of radius r from the origin that you can draw. So sphere from of r, you can draw a cone centered around the z axis, that means theta is constant, a vertical plane, that means phi constant. Let us go back. Okay. So you can think of like you can have a, the first one is your sphere of radius r. So r is constant. A cone centered around the z axis, that means your this one, cone centered around z axis. So your the angle is normally measured by this from the vertical. What is the alignment? So theta is constant. So theta value can be from 0 to your 180, like we can say theta from 0 to 180. Another thing is possible, a vertical plane, the vertical plane where phi is constant. So vertical plane is your z xz, that plane. So this plane is where phi is constant, so it can rotate at angle phi. So this is the vertical plane I was talking about. So this phi is constant for a particular value. Now this can rotate. The phi can rotate, and depending on that, phi will vary. So phi can take value from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, phi is from 0 to 2 pi. The ranges are mentioned here. So r can take any value up to infinity. Theta can theta can move from 0 to pi. Phi can move from 0 to 2 pi. If you now understand this particular geometry, that how r, theta and phi is varying, then you can think of corresponding to the direction of r, you have a unit vector similar to your that xy coordinate xyz. So similar to your xyz, similar to your xyz, like xyz, you have a unit vector ax, okay, ay, az. Similar to that, here you have ar, a theta and a phi. Now if we are able to transform everything into this coordinate system, then whatever value of x, y and z, then you are if you are basically able to express the unit vectors as a transformation from the Cartesian to spherical, then you will be able to calculate any vector value in the spherical coordinate system. To do that, what you can actually write, we can write this one. So let us write step by step. So here we can write the vector A equal to, so along the direction, if vector is AR, then the unit vector, if it is AR, so we can write AR plus A theta A phi A phi. So we can write from that figure, and the magnitude of A, so magnitude of A will be equal to root of AR square A theta square A phi square. And from the concept of dot product and cross product, you can write AR cap equal to A theta cap equal to 1, and AR cap A theta cap equal to A theta equal to A phi cap A equal to 0. So you can name these equations as 1, 2, 3, 4. Then further you can write for the cross products scenario. So it is 1, 2, 3, like AR cross A theta will be equal to A phi. Then A theta cross A phi equal to AR. Then A phi cross AR AR equal to your A theta. This is phi. And cross product of same element equal to 0. Equal to 0. So these are 5. Okay. So from that figure, just we have seen, so from this particular figure, we can write, so these equations I denote by 5, this 6, we can write as R equal to root of x square plus y square plus z square, and theta equal to tan inverse root of x square plus y square divided by z phi equal to tan inverse y by x. So your x equal to your r sine theta cos phi, y equal to r sine theta sine phi, and z equal to r cos phi. So this satisfies this equation. You can, so these are 7. You can name it this as 7a, 7b, 7c. So this satisfies this equation 7a. Now using the dot product concepts, we can write your, then because x equal to r sine theta cos phi, so your ax right here, ax equal to ax equal to sine theta cos phi AR plus theta component. So that will be your cos theta cos phi a theta minus sin phi a phi. A y will be equal to sin theta sin phi AR plus cos theta sin phi a theta plus cos phi a phi, and AZ equal to cos theta AR minus sin theta a theta. Okay, and correspondingly you can write the AR equal to sin theta cos phi AX plus sin theta sin phi a theta plus cos theta AZ. This is AY. A theta will be equal to cos theta cos phi AX plus cos theta sin phi AY minus sin theta AZ. AZ equal to minus sin phi AX plus cos phi AY. Okay, so your vector relation then now A equal to, we have used A equal to AR small AR cap. So you write AR equal to third bracket. First you write AR. So AR will be AX sin theta cos phi plus AY sin theta sin phi plus AZ cos theta into your AR plus you write AX cos theta cos phi, cos theta cos phi plus your ay sin cos theta sin phi minus az sin theta into a theta plus minus of ax sin phi plus ay cos phi into a phi. This is your complete AR, where your, so you can now see AR equal to this term is your AR, this term is a theta, and this is a phi. Okay, so we can write that for sake of completeness, R equal to x sin theta cos phi plus ay sin theta sin phi plus az cos theta. A theta equal to ax cos theta cos phi plus ay cos theta sin phi minus az sin theta, and az equal to minus ax sin phi plus ay cos phi. So this you can write in terms of matrix notation. AR a theta a phi is equal to sin theta cos phi sin theta sin phi cos theta cos theta cos phi cos theta sin phi minus sin theta, and here it is minus sin phi cos phi 0, and this needs to be multiplied with ax ay az column vector. So, and similarly you can do the reverse calculation, and find out that Ax, Ay, Az equal to your sine theta cos phi cos theta cos phi minus sine phi. Here it will be sine theta sine phi cos theta sine phi. So the cos phi, and here it will be cos theta minus sine theta 0. These are your AR, A theta, A phi. Okay. So this is such one derivation. A lot of other things we need to do. So based on this particular concept, when we talk about the movement of electron and electron movement in electric field, electron movement in both electric and magnetic field, so there these concepts will be required for finding the force equation. Okay. Z should be cos theta. So exactly where?
So initially, when you wrote z equals to r times cos phi rather than theta.
Okay.
Yes, here.
Z equal to r cos theta. Yes, yes. This should be. Yes. This should be r cos theta. Thank you. So these are very basic things, but you need to. I have skipped so many steps, but in exam, whenever it will be asked or similar kind of thing, you need to follow proper steps. And this particular course involves vector calculus, so please do not forget to give vector sign whenever it is required. And units are also important. So unit and the sign is important for vector calculus, vector notation. So a lot of these things you will find in particularly the Maxwell equation application, and in like in case of your latter part, microstrip line, those things will be also covered. If not covered, so strip line and microstrip line and waveguide. So those scenario, vector notation is very important. A lot of people do what we have seen in last 3-4 years, though correction calculations are right, but because of this thing, marks are deducted and even 0. Okay, so next class we'll be talking about more this kind of derivations. And if this derivation you feel bored, so what we actually can do, so these derivations I can send you the day before the class, and then in the class we can discuss about the problems. That way we can do in next 3-4 classes.